I love this thought, that we have to always lean in to an experience. And I don't think that suffering or difficulty is something to be avoided. And I think it should be exciting to us, the idea of waking up each morning, sort of rebirthing and having a new opportunity. So I guess ultimately, we shouldn't act so surprised by it, right? We should lean into it, embrace it, move through it.
Welcome to At the Heart of It. I'm Nancy Brown, CEO of the American Heart Association. Welcome to At the Heart of It, where we are sharing stories about remarkable people. Pull up a chair and get ready to hear intimate conversations about how our guests are finding purpose, unleashing innovation, and maintaining well-being along the way. Listen to a softer side you may not have heard before. We're all in this journey together, so let's explore and discover. This week, we delve into the heart and soul of Elisabeth Röhm, an accomplished actress with over 80 film and TV credits to her name, along with 2 books, a budding career as a director, and a range of charitable endeavors. But of course, there's more to her story than what meets the eye.
For over 20 years, actress Elisabeth Röhm has been a bright light on television and in Hollywood films. TV viewers know her as Assistant District Attorney Serena Sutherland on Law & Order and Detective Kate Lockley on Angel. Her film credits include Joy, Bombshell, and American Hustle. On top of that, Elisabeth recently made her directorial debut with the Lifetime film Girl in the Basement. Elisabeth is the author of Baby Steps, Having the Child I Always Wanted, Just Not As I Expected. Elisabeth is active in a number of charitable causes and is the founder of the Respect Project, a nonprofit promoting respectful dialogue from varied perspectives on essential human topics such as love, grief, and perseverance. In today's show, we'll learn more about Elisabeth's life in the public spotlight and behind the scenes, what shaped her journey and her philosophy.
Welcome, Elisabeth. I'm so excited to see you today.
Hi, Nancy. I'm always so happy to be with you.
It is great. All right, so we're going to have a little fun before we get started. I'm inviting all of my guests to play a game of this or that. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, working style, early morning or late night?
Early morning.
Multitasker or one thing at a time?
Multitasker.
Stress relief, do you like a day at the spa or a good workout?
Day at the spa.
Me too. Food, steak, fish, or tofu?
Tough one. Steak.
Okay, favorite pet, dog, cat, or other?
Other?
I know.
Dog.
Reptile of some sort, dog. Okay. Bonus question is on wine. Are you going with red or white?
Red.
Okay, very good. Thank you for letting us to get a sneak peek into your preferences. And thank you so much for being here and for sharing your personal story. I know that show business can have a lot of ups and downs. What has been your proudest moment?
I guess I always want to sort of couch it in the topic at hand, which is, of course, losing my mother to heart disease. I think so much about my own sustainability, for my own daughter, and, really living a heart healthy life and being conscious of that. But along with that is also resilience. I think that life can be challenging, careers can be challenging, and, the resilience to sort of pick yourself up, after failure, after difficulty, and readdressing yourself. I mean, that's always the secret to success. It's also the secret to a healthy heart and living a healthy life, because, sometimes we all slide and we do something unhealthy, but in the morning after, we always have to remind ourselves that we want to live a long, healthy life for those that we love and that love us.
Yeah, such important perspective. And the ups and downs that you referenced, I think, are so true for everybody. And it's a really strong person who can understand the power of bouncing back. So, what's the worst professional mistake you've ever made?
Dick Wolf, who created Law and Order, once said to me, we did a project and it didn't succeed. And I was devastated. And he said, I'm going to teach you something. He said, every time I experience a failure, I always say, next. And I do think that there's the art of living is something like that, meaning, what is my biggest mistake when it comes to my career is when I take things personally. When I let them derail me because I've attached myself to the emotion of it too much. I always try to take a step back and have some perspective and not take things personally because everybody's sort of struggling with their own fight anyway. It usually doesn't have anything to do with you.
Boy, that's so true, and what great advice. I want to go back to your younger years, rumor has it that you began horseback riding and training at a really young age. What inspired your passion?
I don't know about with the horses. It was probably also partly where I grew up. I grew up in upstate New York. For those that have been there, half the roads are dirt roads because there's a huge organization called the Bedford Riding Lanes Association. So there's miles and miles of horse trails. So, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And I, grew up riding, but I also loved it. I was an only child. And I think that, even to this day, I always have a dog. I always have an animal in my life. And I don't know, I found a lot of solace in being at the barn and riding. And my parents got divorced. And I think I felt a lot of pain about that in my childhood. So I don't know, I just really felt this freedom and this liberation. And, a lot of little girls love horses. It's really an empowering sport for women, especially.
Yeah, and I also know that you were thrown while riding in 2005. What happened? How did it feel? And what did you do?
Well, after, you get thrown in a big accident like that, you begin to understand your mortality a little bit more. I'd had many accidents probably before, but this one was pretty horrific. The horse took off and left me in the middle of nowhere, and I had to walk all the way back to the stable, very long, long way. And then I rode on a TV show and had another accident riding. So I don't ride anymore, not because I don't love it, but because, I have a 13-year-old daughter and, it's, I don't know, maybe as you reach your 40s as I've done, you realize I don't need to prove anything. I don't want to get hurt. And I want to be there for my child and my grandchildren and, so.
Such important perspective. When I think about falling and getting back up off a horse, so to speak, it's sort of like an analogy for life and kind of what you talked about before. What lessons have you learned about falling and getting back up again?
I love this thought, that we have to always lean in to an experience. And I don't think that suffering or difficulty is something to be avoided. I think that's when we should lean in. And I think it should be exciting to us, the idea of waking up each morning, sort of rebirthing and having a new opportunity. So I guess ultimately, I think the difficulty of life, the suffering that's sort of, always going to happen, the chaos that is always going to happen should be, we shouldn't act so surprised by it, right? We should lean into it, embrace it, move through it. The only way out is through. So I don't know why people struggle so much and try to avoid difficulty. Life is difficult, So we have to find the ease in that. And I think within that is a certain kind of wisdom.
Yeah. Speaking of wisdom, you mentioned earlier losing your mom at a very young age to a heart attack. And of course, I know you also lost your aunt. What would you say to them if they were here now?
Well, I would say, this week especially, I had my directorial debut come out on Saturday. And, there was nobody I would have wanted to have seen the movie, with more than my mother. And yeah, so I mean, just sharing that with her and, just there's just been so many things that have happened since she died 10 years ago, that you would just go through and just share. And you've seen me so many times get choked up so many times talking about my mom and my aunt. Unfortunately, they died so, so young. I'd say I missed you.
It's the phone call you can't make that you wish you could make when great things are happening or when there's problems in your life. Everyone wants to talk to their mom. And You know, it's to me, it's especially fitting to know for you what a great mom you are to your daughter. And you've been really vocal about having in vitro. You've written about it. You even said that while you were pregnant, Easton's name came to you in a dream. I can just envision that, and it's so powerful. That is a really untraditional journey. What has motherhood taught you about yourself, and what has Easton taught you? What lessons does she teach you every day?
I didn't know the capacity that I had to love until I became a parent, and sort of readdressing yourself to love every morning and how it deepens, through difficulty. And, we can discard other people, but we can't discard our children, so when things are challenging as they can be between ourselves and our children, or so, even with our own parents, every morning is a new opportunity to love more. And so my capacity for love has grown so much more profoundly than I could have ever imagined. And we celebrate my mom. We talked about my mom yesterday, and she was so compassionate, Easton. So I've learned so much from her. My mom said to me I was always her greatest teacher, but now I know what she means by that, because she learned how to love unconditionally by having me as her daughter. And that's what I've learned through Easton, is how to love unconditionally.
I love that. What advice do you give Easton? She's entering her teenage years. You probably remember your teenage years. If you could just give her one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, this is sort of a joke, because I got to direct Judd Nelson in this recent movie, and I had the biggest crush on him in The Breakfast Club.
By the way, we all did. Oh my gosh.
I mean, seriously, he'd flip his hair back I mean, he was just the most gorgeous. Anyway, I said to him after a week of directing him, I said, I've got to admit something to you. I was so in love with you in my childhood. I said, had I known I was going to get to direct you in my 40s, I wouldn't have suffered so much. Again, it goes back to kind of what we're talking about, which is, and this actually gets into some of the heart health stuff, like how do we deal with stress? How do we manage stress? How do we balance it? Yes, part of it's what we eat and how we exercise and how we take care of ourselves, but it's a lot of it is also, mental. It's a mental game. Life is a mental game. So I would say to Easton, don't take it so seriously. Don't react so much to things, really don't wrestle with it, so much. We all go through difficult experiences, but don't buy into your suffering. Keep moving forward. There's a beautiful quote that Martin Luther King said, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Just keep moving forward, and I think that a true fighter, somebody who truly loves life and wants to thrive, just keeps moving forward. Don't let things attach to you so much and take it all so seriously.
Such great advice, really great advice. And I bet it's something that you use and put to work in every area of your life. And speaking of areas of your life, I'm always, when I have the honor to introduce you, it's always breathtaking to me the number of things that you do and the way you spend your time to impact other people. Your charitable work, for example, spans health and welfare, sustainability, and supporting LGBTQ youth. What is the fundamental theme for you that runs through all of these efforts?
Well, I think knowledge is power, Nancy. We talked a lot about that the other day, right? I'm really getting out there with the American Heart Association and creating an awareness of the narrative of heart disease for women, especially. But again, we avoid things that cause us grief or stress or conflict or overwhelm us. But I would, like to suggest that we should become the advocates of our own story, that we need to lean into the difficult things or the things we perceive as difficult and empower ourselves with knowledge. And I guess ultimately, I think that avoiding things causes suffering and in an unnecessary way. And probably whether it's the American Heart Association or the Red Cross or the Trevor Project or Global Green, it's about, educating, it's about progress, it's about keeping the story moving forward, if it's about getting that narrative out there to as many people, because knowledge is power.
And you have such a great way of telling your story. I know for the American Heart Association, the emotional journey you've been on since losing your mom and your grandmother and your aunt, it's so clear how deeply that's touched you and how committed you are to not let other people suffer the way that you've suffered. So speaking of your mom, if you can think back to the wonderful years when you could pick up the phone and call her and talk to her, What was the best advice she ever gave you in your whole life?
Oh God, she gave me such good advice all the time. She said to me, for God's sakes, I hope you don't lie to other people, but just don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to yourself. And the other thing she always said is tell the truth quickly. We end up getting convoluted so often, and it's just much easier to tell the truth quickly. My mother was an advocate of other people. She was an activist, she was a hippie, and she always said to me, don't treat life as if you're renting, treat life as if you own, that you have an ownership over this life. Therefore, you have a responsibility to it. We're not just passing through, we have to really make an impact, and not only in our own lives, but on behalf of other people.
Yeah. And don't leave anything on the table. I've heard you say that before, that your mom had said that to you. So we've loved this backstage glimpse into your personal and professional journey. I'd love for you to give your parting thoughts, your guiding philosophy at work and in life.
I don't know. Ultimately, I've always tried to have a childlike enthusiasm for life, and it maybe didn't come that difficult for me to find that. But if you're struggling, if you're going through difficulty in your life, really don't forget to take a moment to delight in the little things. Be really grateful for the little things. I think that childlike enthusiasm, it keeps you young forever. And frankly, it just makes you more happy to appreciate the little things, take the time. And actually, going through COVID and this pandemic that we've been through and are still going through, I hope that that is what people carry forward with them, which is that we had the time to appreciate the little things. And there is a mental health aspect to that. There's a physical health aspect to that. Delighting in life with the childlike enthusiasm is a secret to success, I think.
What a great piece of advice. Elisabeth Röhm, thank you for sharing your journey with us. Thank you always for being such a good friend. I always feel inspired when I'm with you because you have a wonderful, calming way to remind us all what's important in life. And we've heard it from you today. So thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Nancy. I love you. Thank
I
you
love
so
you
much.
too. We'll see you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
My thanks to Elisabeth Röhm for sharing her insights and some of the highlights of her remarkable life. Thank you for joining us for this important conversation. And remember, real life and personal growth often happens behind the scenes. So I'm grateful to Elisabeth for giving us insight into her world to when the spotlight is off. One of the things that I take away from the conversation with Elisabeth is things happen to all of us, no matter our status in life, and the importance of getting back up off the fallen horse and remembering to live each day to its fullest and to make sure that we understand the power of mental well-being and resilience and the connection to physical health. I think Elisabeth did a beautiful job of talking about how she connects those in her life every single day. And I know for me, I learn from her every time we're together. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.
Next, on At the Heart of It with Nancy Brown, bouncing back from a major crisis can be challenging, but not impossible. CEO Nancy Brown sits down with America's best-known corporate fixer, Judy Smith.
As women, we really want to know what our value is. You want to fight for it, and you have to draw boundaries, right?
Find out how you can learn to navigate through life's ups and downs. Next, At the Heart of It.